Spain.
I think half the people here already know this, but yeah, she's walking the Camino with her daughter, or parts of it. Basically, the story behind it, which a lot of people here already know too, is last fall when things were getting gloomy up in Michigan. One of her many phone calls to her daughter who lives in Tucson, and the daughter's actually been on the Camino 4 times up to that point, and my wife has been twice. And she said, well, in one of her gloomy moods, well, if something happens to Charles, I want you to take me on the Camino as soon as we get things put to bed here. I don't know where my bed would be, but anyway, and her daughter said, why wait? So the long short of that is they took off 4 weeks ago for Spain and have been doing the Camino ever since. Do people here know what the Camino is?
I do not. Yeah, what is it?
Okay, the Camino is the pilgrimage. It's been going on for centuries, and it comes to different routes that all converge on the Cathedral of St. James, or Santiago, in the town of Santiago. So, but they've taken different routes. This time they've taken some of the same route they've been on before and done some different things too. In fact, at one time they took a taxi from one route to another one that wasn't too far away, so they could see something over there that they wanted to see. So they're having a good time. It's a mother-daughter thing, and they're coming home coming home this coming Monday.
So you've kind of been bacheloring it for a month?
Yeah.
Wow. What have you been eating?
Wow, I've lived by myself for years.
Well, okay. So
2 divorces, in between you live by yourself.
I gotcha. Speaking of that, how many years have you and your sweetheart been married?
It'll be 40 in January.
Wow, that's fantastic. How many kids do you guys have?
I had a daughter, and she had brought 2, and between them they've had, 1, 2, 3, and 2 and 4 is 7 kids. But they've both been divorced and remarried, and they've brought in stepkids into the relationship too. And I kind of lose count. I don't even want to embarrass myself.
Yeah. And do you guys have grandkids?
And great-grands.
And great-grands.
Yeah, we've got 3, 1. It gets tricky again with the adopted ones, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 9, 10, I don't know. I could enumerate them, but I have to get a pencil and paper.
Have you been to every reunion? I don't recall. Have you been to every?
I know I missed the first one. I was not in Washington.
Okay.
I think I might have missed one other one too because of sickness or something.
Mm-hmm. What do you like the most about these reunions? What do you think about these reunions?
Well, it's great to be with the guys that I was with and a whole bunch of guys that I was not with. I was only there 4 months. And so a lot of people were there, some might have been there before me, and some of the people were definitely after me. I met Willie once, briefly. I don't remember too much about him. He doesn't remember me either, so we're an even keel there. The hazards of getting older. I have a picture of him when he was young. I can't connect it with who he is now. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Now, your nickname is Hedgie.
That is correct also.
How did you get that nickname?
Well, John has had a story that he's been embellishing over the years.
So today you have, let's set the record straight.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, his story was that I like to wander through hedgerows, stomping my feet, looking for booby traps or something like that. But that's far from the truth. What actually happened was that in one particular case, we were going down a path with a hedgerow between it and a open area, rice paddies or whatever they were. And I happened to notice in the middle there, in that little hedgerow, were a series of foxholes and bunkers. So I went and checked them out. I was walking down there. I threw some great grenades in a few of them just to make sure there was nobody hiding in their little hidey. They all had hidey holes off to the side and the back to protect them from the artillery and things. So I threw a few grenades down just to see if anything happened, and nothing did. But from that sprung the story of that I love to go through hedgerows and hunting for booby traps the hard way, the Polish way. And sorry if there are any Poles here, but.
So where's the story that I told wrong?
The part about that I enjoyed just wandering through hedgerows looking, it was one particular case and there was one particular reason, which was there were things there to look at.
What did Ray and I tell you? How many times did we tell you this? Stay out of the hedgerows with that little bamboo stick that you have.
Bamboo, I was carrying an M16, I think, at the time, not a bamboo stick.
Bamboo cane, yeah.
He made that part up too.
See, I'm glad you're here to expose the lies. We got to expose him. We got to keep him honest.
Well,
now you said you.
I'll tell you something else. I bought John's book, 2 copies. I read one and I gave the other one to my daughter.
That was subliminal. He didn't even realize what he did.
Gave the other one to my daughter. And when I gave it to her, I said, I want you to read this. It's got a really good flavor of what happened over there. But when you read it, I want you to know that from my perspective, virtually everything in there is a lie, except the part where he said, I was a good guy. I'm not sure. He may be retracting that now.
What was, now you said you served for 4 months.
Correct.
What, were you injured?
Yeah, I had a booby trap, but not in a hedgerow. I got there first, John.
So that was not in a combat situation. You guys were just doing.
We were out on ambush at night. It was dark, and for some reason they decided to set up an ambush right next to a hedgerow that had a sign on it that said "Mine," M-I-N. And we all knew that meant booby trap. But the problem was we didn't have night vision goggles in those days, and we weren't wearing headlamps, so we didn't see it. Now the thing that has evaded me for the life of me since then is why didn't we have that marked on a map? We all knew where it was. But anyway, that's beside the point. That was my $100,000 wound that got me the hell out of there and home in pretty much one piece once they dug all the infection out and put it back together. So I was had a lot of survivor's guilt for a while, but I quickly got over it. Said, hey, you know, it was too bad. It's what happened. By the time I was better from my wounds, my ETS date was there. So I just processed out of the hospital, processed out of the Army, and went home to my wife.
Did you ever go through any counseling or any treatment or support groups or anything that before the Wolfhounds or any of that?
No, I really didn't need it, I don't think. Mm-hmm. The time I was over there was mostly boring.
I see.
We walked around in the hot sun. I got bad headaches and dehydration, and then at night we'd go out on ambush and we'd set up, and most of the time in the morning we'd come in. And yeah, the most exciting thing that happened out there was I get shot at by our own people.
That happened quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I landed in a hole out near Cambodia when the helicopter started shooting at us. I heard we were talking about sonic booms. I had them there, with these little M60 bullets going by my head. And I dove in the hole. I was the second one in. Even quick as I was the second one in. And the fourth one in was a guy on top of me, and he caught the bullet. So I had a bloody shirt that day, and people wanted to say, "What happened? You get hit?" No, it wasn't. It's just not my blood, unfortunately. Fortunately, I mean, I had to stay. Yeah,
so you, when you came, you come to the reunions, and there's a lot of guys that have a lot of personality. You've always been more of the kind of just lay low and just
kind of an introvert. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have any favorite parts or favorite memories of the reunions? Anything that you enjoyed a lot?
Well, obviously the one big theatrical event was the helicopter guys coming in. That one stuck with us. I've probably told that story a few times. But basically, it's really the reason I come here is to be with the other guys. When I first came, John said, "You'll be a changed person." I resisted the first one. I wasn't ready, and besides, I was having health issues at the time. But the second one, I came, and he was right. It does change you. Like I said, I'm kind of an introvert. I can play an extrovert, which I'm doing right now, but it's a skill I honed in management and business,
Which, again, I'm asking things that I don't know. Speaking of your life, what career when you worked? What was your career?
Got into computer science. I was one of the first computer science degrees, so I became a programmer. And I did so well at it, they promoted me to management after 4 years. And I didn't like that nearly as well, being an introvert. So eventually that job went away after 20 years, and I went back to programming. I thought, this is what I want to do, and bounced around in that. One of the more fun jobs I had after the bank I was programming at got bought out was I went to GM at the contractor doing failure mode and effect analysis, which is basically sitting in a meeting, running a meeting actually. I was the runner of the meeting and the scribe, writing everything down, having engineers tell me how they make cars work. First part of that was in mechanical engineering in GM Tech Center, and the last 6 years was at the proving grounds in Milford, Michigan, where the programmers told me how they programmed engine controllers and some transmission controllers too, and that was a lot of fun. Just asking questions and figure out how cars work, how the programs work. You learn a lot about the hardware from the software too. So that was a good time.
So I'm going to ask you a question just because of your field. What do you think about AI?
I think it's being oversold, overpromised, and is going to cause a lot of problems. It may do a lot of good in selected applications, but they're way overselling it right now.
Is it?
And I'm not an expert on this. This is just a personal opinion,
Yeah.
by the way. Let me clarify that.
Yeah. Is it? Do you think it's as real as they say it is? I mean, I see that, there's something called a Chat GPT, and I can ask it questions, and I
haven't touched it,
I see.
so I can't really talk anything operational about it. I stayed away from it.
I gotcha. Yeah, technology, and we were teasing about the cell phone, but Dad, I have hope for you. Jake actually spent a minute with me at the pool, and he showed me that they still make a flip phone. The only problem with his flip phone, from what I'm getting you, is his was this big and yours is going to be this big. And it's going to be this big thing with these big buttons you can do this with, so it'll be fun. So
Tim, that's called a laptop. with a SIM card.
So if there's any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to leave the group with, I'm going to let you have the last say here in this interview. What would you, in this moment, what would you leave with us? What would you tell us that's important to you?
Well, I really don't have much I can't recommend anything to you. I'm just a guy. But what I can say is I really appreciate all you folks and the way that we all interact together and help each other get through the various stages of our life. And the stages have changed a lot in the last 20 years, as we all know. I'm going to go back to something that was said yesterday, though, which was sort of, I'm not words of wisdom, but it's my experience in one area that I think is kind of important to all of us. At the age we're at, we all tend to have issues where our balance gets weak and we fall down a lot or catch ourselves trying to keep from falling down, whatever it is. And we walk around hunched over and whatever. A couple of years ago, I got involved in a class for old farts. At the time, I literally thought that I was on a slide heading right down into a coffin because I was had deteriorated so much from the surgeries that I couldn't do much for years. And I found this class for old farts. That basically his goal is to teach us, remember, to stand up like we're in the military and build up muscles, that, especially the lateral ones and the oblique ones that keep us from falling down. And if you get a chance to do that, do it. It's never too late. I mean, the first few weeks I did this, I wasn't sure about it, but after 3 weeks, all of a sudden I could do things like, it only took 3 weeks of a couple times a week and working a little in between, but where I could do things I couldn't do before. It took a couple of years before my balance really got to where I got confidence, which is the other thing I want to leave you with. Something this guy said stuck with me. He said when I first went in, I wanted to get on the weight machines and get strong, He said, no, stay off the weight machines right now. I don't want you there. He said, you got to retrain your central nervous system, he called it. And I didn't quite know what he meant at the time, but what he really meant was we get so used to doing things wrong, to walking bent over, well, I walked with my feet splayed out like this, which was causing knee and hip problems. And he says, you got to retrain your central nervous system. He meant learn to do things with the proper form, do it correctly. And the other half of that is then you have to build up confidence that you've lost over the years because you've lost so much. He had us doing, he called them deadlifts, but it's basically a light dumbbell of some sort, or maybe none at all, just doing squats. And when I first started doing that, I wouldn't even get down to my seat down to my knee level. And now I can practically get down to my hips. But the breakthrough was, one day I said, I wonder if I can do that. And I tried it, and I could. But that's because I've been doing the work. So do the work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.